Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Boiling Point podcast. We are just a few minutes away from the beginning of the West Shore School District meeting, which we will, of course, be live streaming. We will not be talking during the meeting so that you can watch it uninterrupted. And, of course, we will be having the after show once the meeting is concluded. A couple of the parents are at the meeting, so it'll just be me for a few minutes, and then a couple of parents will join me a few minutes after we get into the after show, once they make it to their cars. Hopefully this is not a long of a meeting as it was last week. Our stream was, I think, 4 hours and 40 minutes last week. I'm really hoping that it doesn't go that long this week. We'll wait and see. I don't believe there's that much on the agenda. In fact, I'm going to get that pulled up right now as well. Okay. There doesn't look like there's too much on the agenda here. There's a couple of appointments that they're doing in the business items. But it looks like, and they have some revised policies that they're going to be voting for approval. And they're going to be approving some curriculum. So there are 9 different items, including the public comments on the agenda, but I don't think it'll take that long to get through some of this stuff. The meeting should be starting any minute. It should be starting here in about a minute or so, as soon as they, unless there's a delay. Last week there was a delay, and they were, I believe, almost 10 minutes late before they got the meeting going last week. Well, last week was a pretty eventful one. I don't think this one will be quite as long, controversial. Everything that last week's meeting was. I can use this as a moment to give a shout out to Mariana and Christy for helping me with for doing their shows. Mariana does the Watchdog Report, and Mariana and Christy do the Simply Speaking. And Brandy's helped a lot, especially with these meetings. So shout out to all of them for helping me be able to put on the coverage that we put on. And I believe Kelly Brent will be appearing on an episode of the Boiling Point podcast in the next couple of days, if I'm not mistaken. So look for that. And I did get to have a conversation with her, so we can officially endorse Kelly Brent and Sandra Gonzalez now. Don't forget to hit that reaction button, hit that like button, and leave comments. That always helps the circulation. And apparently they are going to be a minute or two late this week as well. Maybe the policy meeting is running long. Thank you, Celeste, for hitting that reaction button. Please, anybody else tuning in, also hit that reaction button as well. And it looks like we are going to be a few minutes late this week as well. So they're now 2 minutes late, which is definitely not normal. Last week it wasn't normal, and even though it's happened again this week, it's not something that ordinarily happens. All right, well, now we're 3 minutes late. So as soon as they get started, I'll big screen them, and that way you'll be able to listen in and watch. Yeah, Celeste, 3 minutes late. It's definitely not normal. Normally they go right at 6:30, if not even a couple of seconds sooner. And last week I believe they were almost 10 minutes late last week. And now here we are going in more than 3 minutes late this week here. So like I said, maybe the policy meeting that takes place before this, maybe that is running late or ran late. So we're still waiting. My plan was to only go live a few minutes before the actual meeting was supposed to begin. That's why I didn't have any parents join me today. I told them all, I said, you don't have to join me beforehand. I don't think there's much that we need to discuss or talk about beforehand. So, but here we are. They're running late now. Almost 5 minutes late. Six minutes late. Wow. Oh, here we go.
Parents, educators, staff, and the community. I call this meeting to order. Prior to tonight's public meeting, an executive session took place where confidential personnel and student-related issues were discussed. Please take this moment to turn off or silence your cell phone or any other electronic devices to prevent disruptions during the meeting. Dr. Argott?
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Britton?
Here.
Mrs. Tierney?
Here.
Mr. Geiswhite? Mrs. Davis?
Here.
Mrs. Brent,
Here.
Mr. Cambick,
Here.
Mrs. Thomas,
I'm here. Thank you.
Mrs. Cox,
Present.
Mr. Trone.
Here.
8 members present, one of them who is remote.
Please pause for the national anthem performed by 8th graders in Allen Middle School, solo and ensemble elective.
Carry. Colors. Forward. Up. Up time. Up. Color guard. Hope. Left. Right. Present. Off.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Off. Right. Face. Out column. Up.
This evening's color guard was from Cedar Cliff High School, comprised of seniors Yoon Kim, Andrew Snavely, and junior Maria Eve, and freshman Natasha Noss. Would they like to come and say hello? This must be Landon.
My name is Landon Farmery. I'm in 8th grade and I play the baritone saxophone.
Good job. Must be Talon.
My name is Talon Holmes, and I'm in 8th grade, and I play the saxophone. My name's Amaya Gonzalez. I'm in 8th grade, and I play the violin.
My name's Golden Ward Sot, and I'm in 8th grade and I play percussion.
Mr. Donnelly, instrumental and general music teacher at Allen Middle School. Just wanted to recognize our trumpet player, Wolfgang Trayer, who was preparing for this. He just could not be in attendance for tonight, so I wanted to recognize him for his efforts.
Thank you. Can we have the color guard come up? Say hello. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Yoon Kim, a senior at Cedar Cliff High School.
Hi.
I'm Andrew Snavely. I'm a senior at Cedar Cliff High School.
I'm Natasha Noss. I'm a freshman at Cedar Cliff High School.
I'm Maria Eve. I'm a junior at Cedar Cliff High School.
Thank you. Recognition by the board. Recognition. Yeah, sure. Let's do recognition. Okay.
Thank you.
Wait, Mrs. Cox was going to go first. I'm sorry about that.
I just have a short one. I had the privilege of going to, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We have students.
We do.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yep, student speakers.
Student speakers, Cedar Cliff co-valedictorian Timothy Valentine. Welcome.
Welcome. Oh, thank you. I'd like to start off by thanking the school board for your time. All right. Tim, I stopped by Cedar Cliff and brought you Mr. Murphy's summer assignment my mom told me a few weeks before high school. I remember working on that packet and imagining what high school might be like. Who will I be friends with? Where are all my classes? And most of all, what will my teachers be like? From looking at the difficult calculus problems on Mr. Murphy's packet, I could tell that he was going to be a tough teacher who expected a lot from me. As a freshman in his first period class, I worried that I might get singled out, especially since I claimed to excel in math. At 7:30 on the first day of high school, Mr. Murphy greeted me with a smile when I walked into class. I watched the juniors and seniors trickling in, making jokes as they sat with each other. There were wooden triangular mobiles hanging from the ceiling. Mr. Murphy called them art. Mr. Murphy invited me to sit with the juniors and seniors. I sat across from Solomon Khan, the smartest student at Cedar Cliff, and that year's valedictorian. For his first lesson, Mr. Murphy taught us that 1 is equal to 2. He walked us through all the steps, and although we tried to figure out where he went wrong, we couldn't. Then Mr. Murphy said something like, if you were paying attention, you might have seen me divide both sides by 0. In calculus, we do a lot of dividing by 0. We have to approximate functions as they approach 0. This is called taking the limit. My first day in Mr. Murphy's class went much more smoothly than I expected. As it turns out, Mr. Murphy is the friendliest teacher at Cedar Cliff, and he is definitely not too hard on his students. I could tell that he loved teaching math, maybe even more than I loved learning math. After a few weeks went by, Solomon told me a secret. He said, I heard if you ask Mr. Murphy about his basil, he'll go on a 10-minute rant about gardening. The next day, I asked Mr. Murphy an herb-related question, and to my surprise, he did not disappoint, and he told me all about his garden. I learned that Mr. Murphy was very approachable, so I continued asking him questions throughout the year. When I didn't know how to do something, I asked. Once I worried about being singled out. Now I singled myself out when I felt stuck. And Mr. Murphy always tried his best to help me understand what I couldn't. Mr. Murphy taught me to ask questions and to be creative in solving problems. In his class, I also learned from experience how younger students should be treated. As a freshman, my junior and senior classmates included me in studying, board games, and even activities outside of school. Now that I'm a senior, I have a responsibility to the younger students in my classes. I include them in activities, give them advice, and help them when they need it. My Cedar Cliff experience would have been very different without having excellent teachers like Mr. Murphy early on. Each year, I've gotten committed teachers that support and encourage me. I would need hours to tell you how much all of my teachers have helped me. It is because of their guidance that I succeeded in high school and that I'm graduating as valedictorian.
Thanks, Tim, for sticking around.
course.
What's next?
So I'm going to the University of Alabama to study engineering.
Fantastic. And of all the schools, why Alabama?
When I visited the campus, it was like nothing I've ever seen before. It was affordable, it was beautiful, and I'm going to be in their honors program. So I'm super psyched about that.
Will you have an early report, or when will you report for the summer?
I'll be going regularly in August
Okay,
during move-in day.
awesome. What's been, of all the courses that you've taken, what's been your favorite course?
I loved Mr. Murphy's calculus class, but I also loved Mrs. Hyde's AP literature class, because I think that's what got, like, I never expected to like reading before then. I didn't really read much, but she really helped me like learn how to read like in depth and like really enjoy it.
Great. And I can vouch for the 1 = 2 story, because I have been in Mr. Murphy's class when he has been going through that. So
Yeah.
And if you think you're good at math, it's a little humbling. So thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
Tim, no, you're not going yet. Are you involved with the Academic World Quest?
Yes, I am.
Take a moment and tell us about that, and when you're going to Turkey, and tell everybody about
Okay.
that.
Should I start from the beginning?
You should quickly, yeah.
Okay. So I was a member of this year's Academic World Quest team. So we study global affairs and geography and all kinds of like even world history too. And so we went to a competition where we are tested on just different articles we read and things we studied. And in the past few years, we've never placed, but this year we won nationals and we got first place. And so we won tickets to Turkey. And so I'm very excited about that.
I know there's several of us will be your +1. I think you get to take a guess. I think you get to take a guess, and the assistant superintendent probably could look for you. Happy to go.
I mean,
I don't know if your folks one of those. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think it's worth saying you and this class, man, this senior graduating class is so impressive. You've met the other co-valedictorian, Jackson Kane, but it's just an impressive group of kids, and I'm super proud of you. Braden wants to say something. Mr. Long?
May I further elaborate on that?
Yeah, you better talk into a mic.
I apologize for speaking out of turn, but if I
Just go to Vanjie's mic. Yeah.
I say this only because I have seen Tim all year long. We recognize our students all of the time, but his group with Raina Johnson, Tim Valentine, Jackson Kane, Rory Gannon, they were a part of a group that were also National Merit Commended Scholars earlier this year. Mrs. Cox, you may have seen Tim helping out at the Special Olympics. We had him also part of the Academic World Quest team where they competed against 33 other teams. Last year they placed, he said they didn't quite place, it was 16th. They moved to first. They beat teams out of Houston and Dallas and Reading and others. And this was the 4th straight team in a row that represented Pennsylvania. So I apologize for interrupting, but I really wanted to further explain Tim's senior year to everyone. It's been quite impressive.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Tim.
Thank you.
Redlands Senior Michael Payne.
This will be an audio
Hi,
presentation.
my name is Michael Payne. I am a senior from Redland High School. Sorry I couldn't be there today. I am busy working. Ms. Dalby has played an important role in my high school career. She understood my goals for the future and helped me reach towards them. My mom is my biggest support, helping me with my schoolwork and goals. Going to high school, I knew I wanted to apply for the welding program at VOTech. A challenge for me was being stuck in a classroom. A positive was getting into VOTech for welding. At VOTech, I excelled and earned all 5 welding certifications. These are the 5 welding certifications: SMAW 3G vertical, SMAW 4G overhead, GMAW 3G vertical, FCAW 3G vertical, and GTAW 3G vertical. I worked at James Craft & Son on co-op through VOTech this year. Working there, I've learned more about pipe welding and pipe fitting. My second job after school is working at Stolzfus Landscaping Contracting. I am a fabricator and welder for them. My future plans are to move to West Virginia and join the 625 Plumbers and Pipe Fitting Union. Thank you. Have a great day.
Now, I realize that Michael's not here tonight and he doesn't get put on the spot, but I wanted to go back and make sure that I got these notes correct. Michael is, again, from Redland, and he is one of only 2 students ever at Cumberland Perry Career and Tech in the welding program to pass all 5 welding certs. That is saying something, right? And for a kid that I think just found his niche, and clearly is going to go on and do some great things, and has it sounds like he's got a sustainable wage earning career ahead of him to do that. So props to him and everyone that supported him to get him there. Props to the VOTech, Miss Dalby. Yep, and he recognized her too. Just a great beacon. I forget what Mr. Gay was telling us when we talked about him a couple weeks ago, but he was, because he had to go up for the testing, and he wasn't available for something, and I forget what it was, but because he was up there taking that 5th test, and his teacher had said, I think he can.
Was it career day?
It was an event, something where they would have liked him to be, but he was up there taking that final test and passing it. So.
And how much he prepared independently. That was I think what the folks at CTC said. He had to prepare for those assessments, many of those assessments independently. It took far more preparation than just being in the class. So he should be commended. Super proud of him. Incredible accomplishment. He's going to do good things.
He'll always have a job as a welder.
He'll always have a job. Yeah.
I'm just amazed because I've done some welding, but overhead welding, that is something special to be able to do. That is really something else. In fact, he passed all 5. That is fantastic. Because again, it's a nice reflection on the JOC we have here. These kids can learn a trade and have a career and come out of high school and do very well for themselves. So I'm very happy for them.
Mrs. Cox, shout out.
I'll start piggybacking on that. I love to hear these stories. I mean, I love to hear the academic stories too about the kids going on, but I also love to hear the tech-oriented students too, because he did say in there a little bit, classroom really wasn't my thing. And to be honest, it's not everybody's thing, and that's okay. And we at West Shore have provided these avenues for these kids, and it's just phenomenal to hear their stories. I love to hear those just as much as I love to hear the other stories. So kudos to him and good luck to him. On that line, I was at I had the privilege of going to Crossroads for the concert, and I don't know who these children were. My grandson plays, but there was a saxophone. I don't know if anybody else was there, but there was a saxophone duet, and those 2 young men sounded phenomenal. I mean, I knew one of them because he's in one of my grandson's classes and stuff. But if you would have heard these 2 gentlemen play this saxophone duet, you would have thought they were in college I mean, that's how good they were. So, I mean, kudos to our music department. And I'm going to say, as long as I'm here, I will never cut funding to music, drama, anything like that, because it affords kids a lot of things also, just like the tech ed program. And I just think West Shore, our music program and everything is just phenomenal. So kudos to them.
Mr. Cambick.
Thank you very much. Mr. Britton and I share a passion of sports, and want to recognize the Cedar Cliff 4x400 relay team. I know he was thinking about this too. He saw this. I was sitting there. I was talking to my wife. I said, "Hope Dave doesn't talk first because he'll get this." But as an old track coach, a 4x400 meter relay team set the school record. Evan Shriver, Kunda Noy, Alex Delavan, and Dre Crawford ran a time of 3 minutes 20.95 seconds. For those of you doing the math on that, that's a whole mile in 200 seconds, which means each kid was running below 50 seconds about. And that is amazing. The old record, 321.75, was set 40 years ago. And since these young men are moving on to districts, I was talking to one of the very proud mothers, and she said that the members of that team from 40 years ago have contacted, and they're going to get to the districts to watch them run, which is amazing. And I mean, a 40-year-old record, and you appreciate you coach track, you got one or two maybe good quarter milers, but to have four to do that, and they're seated number 2 in districts behind Cumberland Valley, who they beat in the conference meet. They're by like 0.2 seconds. They're seating against them. So rooting for them on Saturday up at Shippensburg, and looking forward to them going on the state side. So congratulations, young men, and your coaches.
Mr. Brinton.
Yes, I have 3 tonight. One is in several parts, but the first one is I want to wish best of luck to our students as they begin their Keystone testing today. Number 2 is sports related, Mr. Cambick. Congratulations to the Redland girls softball team for winning the Mid-Penn Keystone Division Championship. Congratulations to the Cedar Cliff baseball team for winning the Mid-Penn Commonwealth Division Championship. They open District 3 playoffs tomorrow with a home game against Waynesboro at 4:30. Congratulations to the Cedar Cliff girls lacrosse team for qualifying for the District 3 3A tournament for the first time ever. They play at Hempfield tomorrow at 7 p.m. Also, best of luck, per Mr. Cambick, to our track and field athletes as they participate this weekend in the District 3 championships. And my last shout out goes to those who were honored last week at both Redland and Cedar Cliff during military award ceremonies. Congratulations to you all.
I feel like I should have given a shout out during wrestling season or at the end of wrestling season for our 2 junior high wrestling coaches, Coach Ryan Wrestler and Coach Palmer. And we also have Coach Willoughby that's there, and now Coach TJ Morrison. But those men pour their heart and soul into those boys on that team, and they teach them self-worth, and they're always there cheering them on. And even when it seems as though they've had a rough match, they're telling them all the good things that happened on that mat and how they can improve. And that's what that sport is all about. And I just felt like we talked a lot about our wrestlers, which they do an amazing job, but they cannot do it without those coaches. And I just love just how they're training them to be the best wrestlers for the high school team as well. And so that was my shout out for them tonight.
I have a shout out. Braden Long. I want to give Braden a shout out because he did that great piece on the natatorium, and he was able to show some of the equipment and show some of many of the reasons we have to do the renovation. And it had a lot of eyes. How many eyes have seen that now? 25 and 30,000 people. That brings the people at home into what the board is working on, so that they are aware. And he just did a fabulous job from just each piece of what the pool is about, and there are many little pieces. So I just wanted to thank you for your great work.
Mrs.
And-
Brent?
Yes.
Can I do a couple of shout outs?
Sure.
Thank you. To piggyback on one that Mr. Brinton mentioned, last Friday, students at Redland High School participated in Military and Career Signing Day. These students made the exciting decision to begin their career straight out of high school, whether by committing to military service or signing with companies to directly join the workforce after graduation. Want to shout out the students at Cedar Cliff who have made that same important decision as being right for them. Accomplishing a milestone such as this reflects drive, determination, and readiness to take on new challenges. We're proud of their commitment to build a strong future for themselves and their communities. Also at Redland, this Saturday, we'll hold a special place in our minds as we open and dedicate the new hitting facility. I mentioned this last week, but again, beginning with the annual ALS walk starting at Patriot Pizza at 9 a.m., we invite everyone to witness the dedication beginning at 10 a.m. at what will be named the Rob, which is this is an exciting moment for the baseball and softball programs. The facility also honors Coach Rob Gilday and the thousands of others diagnosed with ALS. We sincerely thank our community members involved, including those with the Redland Capital Campaign, for their tireless advocacy, vision, and dedication to improving student experiences. Those interested in participating in the ALS walk should park at the high school and take the shuttle to Patriot Pizza beginning at 8:15 a.m. We'll continue to run that shuttle around. There will be two buses, which are being provided by our new transportation provider, Roar. Finally, yesterday in coordination with Roar, a hiring day was held here at ACE for anyone interested in meeting their team of drivers and their HR team. I want to mention that another event is coming up on Saturday, May 31st. It will be at Cedar Cliff High School, which will be a community day with Roar. Families are invited to join in for free refreshments, carnival games, and more, along with the opportunity of those interested to test drive a school bus and learn how to become a part of the transportation team for the 25-26 school year. We look forward to that community day and both new and familiar faces we hope to see at the event.
Thank you. Next is recognition of the public. Public comment provides an opportunity for our community to address the board. Each speaker will be allotted 4 minutes. The board will listen to comments from individuals who have filled out a blue form. To maintain order and respect throughout the evening, I ask everyone present to conduct themselves respectfully and show consideration for others who are speaking. First, we have 2 policy comments that they did not have an opportunity to read due to time, so we'll start there. Sandra Gonzalez. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, I was really glad to attend policy committee meeting, and I find them, they're a different pace than this, but I find them so informative. And in that short amount of time that you guys have, you guys really get a lot done, and I appreciate that. I want to address the policy that was on tonight or today's, the books in the library and the policy for that. I commend you guys for tackling this difficult subject, and it certainly is complicated, and you guys got through only part of it, which is okay because you're being thorough, and I appreciate that. I do want to ask you to perhaps view something that seemed to get kind of overlooked. I really think one of the board members should be in on those books that are being reviewed, books that are up for re-review. You know, I saw that the team that is suggested is everybody but someone on the board. And, you know, you guys are directly put in place by the voter, by the parents of this district, by the grandparents of this district. And our faith is in you guys. And I really think you guys should look at one of your eyes being on this in an oversight way, I think is important. I do think that the parent representation could be something to be considered as well. That may not be as easy as getting someone from the board to have eyes on it. But I do think that you guys are the ones that we're putting our faith in to make great decisions for our children and grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you. Heather Keller.
Hello.
Welcome, Heather.
I took some time to review the differences between the existing Policy 109 and the proposed revisions to the policy. And while I like that there are improvements that clarify some sections of the existing policy, there's a lot of information in the revised version that concerns me. But before I get into those concerns, the first thing that I want to mention is that the proposed revisions make our policy almost look identical to the one from Bermudian Springs. It just seems like what we saw with the sex-based distinction in athletics policy, that our district is using another policy from another district, just really slapping our logo on it and making it our own, which I don't know. I enjoyed the discourse that was had tonight. I feel like we could really continue to work on it to make it our own. The revised policy, one of my first concerns is that the revised policy abandons the Library Bill of Rights language that is in the current policy, which leaves me to wonder if the district will still endorse and support ideals from that Bill of Rights, like having students develop literary and cultural appreciation and ethical standards, growing in knowledge, and students having access to materials that reflect the ideas and beliefs of different religious, social, political, and ethnic groups, and also having a comprehensive selection of instructional materials accessible to students. I also have issues with the avoiding educationally unsuitable materials section. I do support parents and guardians having the ability to review and approve what their families consume in the home and outside of the home. But where it states that parents and guardians have a wide range of options outside of the district system to introduce their child to content they deem appropriate for their child's age, that is not accurate for all parents and guardians, and ignores the fact that there are families that cannot access materials for one reason or another, whether it's because of financial burden or the inability to access the local library, for example. I live just off of the Limekiln Road exit, where we do have a lot of people living in those different hotels there. I know some of them don't have car access, so getting to like the New Cumberland Library or the Frederiksen Library might not be as easily available to them. That's just an example. My other concern with that section is that the standards listed for what resources are acceptable or may not have the potential. They could have the potential to remove items that have been in the classroom for decades. Like when I think about back to my school days, I remember reading, like Mr. Gay mentioned, Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God, which was such a powerful and moving book to me. And it has stayed with me all of these years later with its message of overcoming the obstacles to find peace within yourself. Even like Mr. Gay mentioned again, works by William Shakespeare. Those books are considered classic pieces of literature, but there are quotes and scenarios in them that would be considered things that are not acceptable. Let's also not forget that we still have the final budget approval coming up, and all this talk of classroom materials requiring the need to be cataloged. This would require an extraordinary amount of teacher time, which translates to a huge labor cost for the district. Would this process hinder the donation of books and other learning materials in the classroom, like those from the West Shore Foundation, school PTOs, and other types of donations? Those do an amazing job in providing materials to the classroom that our current budget doesn't allow for. So I just ask that the policy committee consider these things as they continue to work on the policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is opportunity for students to speak on business items. Dr. Argot?
We have no student business items.
Okay. And now public comments for business items only.
We have one.
Sandra Gonzalez?
Thank you. I'd like to address 7M on tonight's agenda. The resource adoption of HMH into Science K4. I believe that is the kits at the back of the room. And if my memory serves me, maybe it's not, my memory serves me right, it was like a $1.2 million purchase. Am I about right there? So I would ask that the curriculum committee look very seriously at that. If that is the number, if we look really seriously at that as a necessity or not. I'm not challenging the content of it, but when we look at our current budget and how far we're stretching things and where we're trying to shift resources around because we're just trying to make it all work and make it all make sense, I would look very serious at that as before you guys approve that amount. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You have the minutes from the April 10th, 2025 and April 17th, 2025 board meetings before you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. The motion passes 8-0. And treasurer's report, Mrs. Boone.
Thank you. The treasurer's report for the month of April 2025 is attached for your review and approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. The motion passes 8-0. Number 6, communications. Do we have any board reports this evening? Mrs. Tierney.
I have one, just on behalf of the West Shore Foundation. This is a reminder to all educators and anyone else who works in buildings or for the district. Our next deadline for educator innovation grants is June 1st. So dream away. Don't miss the deadline. We would love to receive and hear and read about your dreams and give you some money if possible.
Thank you.
Um,
Mr. Camvick.
Transportation Committee met on Tuesday, and I forgot my notes in my other jacket. So I'll go over staffing was our first thing we spoke about, and I believe we have 65 drivers at this point who have moved over to Roar. Am I correct with that?
Approaching 60, I think was the
60.
answer. Yeah, we're not at 60 yet.
All right. And we're hopeful that
The 65 number, that was a number that was discussed. 65 is what we currently have right now.
Yeah.
So most of the drivers that we currently have are staying.
And we're optimistic that Roar, through its recruitment, will fill in the rest that we need. And I believe, again, the number was about 85.
We have 83 routes currently.
83 routes, but we wanted a couple extra.
Having some
just in-
extras
just in
for-
case.
Correct.
And this is where Mr. Sanders usually puts his plug in for anybody who wants to become a bus driver to come to Community Day.
You can even test drive a bus.
You can even test drive a bus. We spoke about the new routing software, and we're getting into using it and getting used to it, and we found it to be user friendly. And again, we have high hopes that this is going to be much better than our previous program we have, and to eliminate a lot of the problems we had from before. Again, we have the recruiting We talked about that already with that. And summer projects, I remember that you wish to have all the routes done by August 1st. That is our target date so that our drivers can get out, try it out, and bring back any feedback and make any tweaks you have to do.
That is an excellent summary, Mr. Campick. Thank you.
I summarized that as quickly as Mr. Gus White ran the meeting on Tuesday, so I'll finish up on that.
Dr. Arcot?
Mrs. Thomas asked me to report
Great.
that the policy committee meeting from last month has been uploaded, and it highlights our discussions on policy 123.2, 801, 809, and 237.
Thank you. Business items. A reminder to please remain quiet as the board deliberates and takes care of meeting business. Mrs. Davis, personnel.
Madam President, I move that we approve the following personnel agenda items, item 7A1 through item 7A6. Do I have a second?
So moved. Need a second.
You are? Second.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Is there any discussion? This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. The motion passes 8-0.
We hired a number of new staff, both professional and support, this evening. Are there any new hires present at this meeting?
Nope.
Does not appear. Either way, we would like to take this opportunity to welcome all the new hires to the West Shore School District.
Thank you. 7B, bills for approval. Mrs. Boone.
Thank you. The administration recommends that business item 7B be approved.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. The motion passes 8-0. Budgetary transfer, Mrs. Boone.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the budgetary transfers to and from the following accounts in the amounts indicated.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. The motion passes 8-0.
I was trying to ask a question.
Oh, was that Heidi?
Oh, Heidi. Heidi, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I didn't know if you could hear me. I didn't want to yell. Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Okay, so I know I had emailed you a question about this. So when I was doing the math on the furniture for rooms, and you had told me that furniture was for two, I think you said they were for 2 conference tables and chairs. Is that correct? Was that the total of $8,035?
So there are 2 conference room style tables and 35 chairs to go with those tables, as well as 2 indoor digital signs that comprise approximately $8,000.
Okay, who's our vendor for furniture? Do we always go to the same person? Do we ever shop around? Do we get no bid?
We do shop around. The chairs are planning to be purchased through Restaurant Furniture, the vendor is called, and the 2 tables that they have picked out are through Amazon.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, appointment of depositories, Mrs. Boone.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors appoints First National Bank, FNB, Pennsylvania School District Liquid Asset Fund, Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, Americhoice, New Cumberland Federal Credit Union, M&T Bank, Members First, and Susquehanna Valley Credit Union as depositories for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 8-0. Appointment of a treasurer. Dr. Argot.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors elect Stevie Boone as treasurer for 1 year beginning July 1st, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 8-0. 7F, appointment of a solicitor. Dr. Argot.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors reappoints Tucker Ahrensberg as solicitor and labor counsel for the year beginning July 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second it.
Is there any discussion? Yeah, we got a second from Heidi.
Yep.
Any discussion? Okay. This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 8-0. Let's see here. Appointment of a secretary. Dr. Argot.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors elects Ryan Argot, Secretary of the West Shore School Board, for a 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Let's all talk about
Madam,
it. David.
Is it true he's been secretary since 2010?
That's what I heard.
It's true.
Temporary.
This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted.
Enthusiastic favor.
Enthusiastic favorite. Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next is the calendar of school board and board committee meetings and newspapers of general circulation 2025-26. Dr. Argot.
Thank you. It is the administration's recommendation that the Board of School Directors approves the proposed 2025-2026 school board meeting and board committee meeting calendars and the newspapers of general circulation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 8-0. Staff attendance at professional meetings. Mr. Gay.
Thank you, ma'am. Staff members have requested leave to attend professional activities at the time and locations listed on the document that you have. The administration recommends the Board of School Directors approves the request for staff attendance at professional meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 8-0. Contracted services, athletic trainer, Cedar Cliff and Redland High Schools. Mr. Gay.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to defer to Dr. Stoltz on this one.
All right. On this one, I mentioned last week that we have been longtime partners with Central Pennsylvania Rehabilitation Services, CPRS, for athletic training services. The administration is recommending that the Board of School Directors approves FPC CPRS Family Practice Center of Sealands Grove, PA, pending final review and approval from the district's legal counsel to be engaged in providing defined trainer services for Cedar Cliff and Redland High Schools at a 5-year contract option as outlined in the agreement. I had attached a draft for you. I was just in conversation with one of the attorneys from Tucker Ahrensberg. That's why the language reads the way that it does, to just finalize this. all the material terms that you have seen in that draft, cost and term and all of those things will not change. This is just some legalese that we're trying to finalize here. So again, it's our recommendation to approve this agreement.
Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Second.
Lucy wasn't a second.
Is there any discussion?
Real quick, Madam President, I have worked with this group for many years as a coach, and even now, when I'm done coaching, I've been around them and seen them to be a highly professional group. I would trust any of my children or my grandchildren with them. They are the best people, some of the best trainers I've ever worked with, and I really am happy that we were able to extend and contract it for them again this year.
Yeah, we've been partnered with them for a very long time. Trainer B and Jess have been with us for a very long time. And if you've had kids in the program, those are names that you recognize involved in our account. The other thing is this agreement is expanding the hours, the number of hours, with the addition of lacrosse in particular. And when they've got more sites to get to, we've had an increased need. So we are adding about 400 hours of additional coverage in this agreement, and doing so at what I would say, I believe to be a very cost-effective, fair way of doing that. So we're expanding service to our athletes.
Any further discussion? Okay. This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. The motion passes 8-0. 7K, ESSA Letter of Agreement and Business Associate Agreement. Mr. Gay.
Thank you, ma'am. In accordance with ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act, the district has developed a letter of agreement and corresponding business associate agreement in collaboration with York County Children and Youth Services to promote educational stability and success for students in foster care. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the ESSA letter of agreement and business associate agreement with York County Children and Youth Services for the 25-26 school year to ensure continued compliance and support for students in foster care.
Mr. Brinson.
Yeah, I have two questions. Number one, do we have a total of how many students that utilize the service?
I don't have that. I certainly don't have it at the top of my head, but I wouldn't be surprised if I get a text here in the next 10 minutes with somebody telling me. This is for York County. It's a separate agreement with Cumberland County.
That was going to be my next one.
Yeah, this is a York County agreement. So the number of foster kids changes pretty regularly, but I'll work to find out how many foster students we have in the district.
Just curious.
See if I can find that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Gay, I
Yes,
ask one
ma'am.
question?
Wait, hold on. Is there a motion? We need a motion and a
Oh.
second to discuss this.
I'll make a motion.
Second? Okay, thank you. Now, let's discuss a little bit further.
I
Thoughts?
just wanted to know from reading through the material, does the majority of this cost come from the county?
So
That kick back to the county?
yeah, York County Children and Youth is funded through the county.
Okay,
Yeah, we have expenses, but our expenses are the expenses to educate children.
thank you.
This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. This motion passes 8-0, Abby? 8-0. 7L, Revised Special Education Plan, Mr. Gay.
Thank you, ma'am. And this one may seem familiar because you have seen this before. You've actually voted on it before, but I'll fill you in. The district special ed plan is an action plan for the upcoming 3 years that describes the commitment of the local board of school directors to ensure that a quality education is provided to each of its students who has a disability who are eligible for special education. The content of the special education plan describes the special ed programs and services that are provided within a school district and those special ed programs and services which are accessed from outside the school district's buildings. Every 3 years, district must develop the plan and submit it to the Department of Education. The The plan must be made available for public inspection and comment. We posted ours for public review on March 7th. During the review period, there were minor recommended changes from our Bureau of Special Education advisor. Those were completed. On April 17th, the special ed plan was approved by this board of directors. On April 24th, the district received notice from the Bureau of Special Education that additional revisions were needed for our indicators and facilities. These were not originally included in the approval that was the earlier approval. So we've made those required revisions. So it's the recommendation of the administration that the Board of School Directors approve the updated district's revised special education plan. That's it.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. This will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 8-0. 7M, Resource Adoption HMH into Science 4K. Mr. Gay.
Thank you, ma'am. The process for reviewing and recommending instructional resources has been completed. It's a multi-step process, and this process actually started last year. We've begun the process for selecting this resource in August of 2023 because we're adopting science resources for other grades. We purposely staggered the adoption of this resource because of the HMH ELA resource we adopted. We knew that would be a very heavy lift for our teachers, so we wanted to delay implementation for a year. There was an exception that was fifth grade. Fifth grade was losing access to their resources, so they adopted this 1 year early just for the fifth grade. This is for the full adoption K-4. There's a question brought up by Ms. Gonzalez about the price. The price of this program is $311,000. That's a one-time price. That will include a 3-year license. The price includes professional development and support. We'll have digital licenses for teachers, and it includes a 10% discount on all printed products. Again, this publisher's worked with us pretty well. They've delayed deferred payment until July 15th of 2026. So this will be developed. The cost for this will be developed into the 26-27 budget. So when the question is it budgeted for? It's not, because we haven't developed the 26-27 budget. As we develop that, this cost will be there. We'll pay it in full at that time. We've gone through the full process of review and development. Those are detailed on an attached document that is available to everybody. So we recommend the approval of the HMH into Science K-4 resource.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Gay, do we know when the last time that the science curriculum was updated for elementary school?
No, and I know you did ask me that. You asked me for the updates over the last 10 years. That's going to take some research.
Okay.
The normal cycle is 6 years, but I suspect this went longer. The cycle got kind of thrown out the window because of COVID. So during the COVID years, things that were supposed to, 2 times, COVID threw things out of whack, and then the 2010-11 era, when the district and most districts in Pennsylvania were struggling financially, created huge delays. So there's a 6-year adoption cycle. The desire is that we stick with a resource for 6 years and then review that resource in year 5 and 6 for a new adoption in the 7th year.
So that will answer my question when we get to the math one too.
It'll only answer it will, but the answer is really, I'm not certain for this when it was adopted. I can tell you the structures that were in place. I'd have to go back and check it, and I intend to.
Thank you.
Mrs. Cox, as I recall correctly too, I'm sorry, Mr. Brent.
You go ahead.
I think somewhere in between there was also the purchase of some lab materials, SFOS kits comes to mind.
Was that for middle school?
No, I think that was for elementary.
SFOS kits for elementary.
Yeah.
David.
This is for you, Madam President. Just a point of clarification. Over the course of this session, all 9 of us on the board here, we've approved all the different curriculums that the administration has brought forward to us. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
If I can offer just one last thing, that Pennsylvania has adopted a new set of science standards. They're called STEEL standards: science, technology, environment, engineering. It's a pretty broad group of standards, and it really does. That set of standards has a different look at how we teach science, phenomenon-based instruction, also called ambitious science teaching. So the resources are aligned with Pennsylvania STEEL standards. I think that's an important. It's a pretty significant change to conceptually how science is taught.
Okay. Any further? We're good? Okay, this will be conducted as a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. 8-0 passes. Next, we have information items. Revised Board Policy 801, Public Records. Dr. Argot.
Thank you. This evening we have 801 here. It's been through the Board Policy Committee. It's been through Legal Counsel and Cabinet. We'd like to put it on public display tonight and bring it back next month, hopefully with the endorsement of the board to approve.
Thank you. And Revised Board Policy 809, Recycling.
Everything I said about 801 would be the same for 809. It's been through the entire process.
Madam President,
Mr. Brinton.
my computer is not working correctly, so I apologize. Okay. But in reviewing that policy, I made note to myself that the first sentence on page 2 maybe wasn't correct grammatically.
The public records of the recycling one.
Recycling.
I'm going there now.
Just might want to. We don't need to take it up more time, but we might just want to review that.
I will double take a look at that, but I think that's the unique nature of working with recycled materials.
Okay, public review of secondary social studies resources. Mr. Gay.
Thank you, ma'am. Social Studies Department, Secondary Social Studies Department has requested a public review of social studies resources. They've been working over the past year to select selected resources. I should let everybody know this is a very pared down request of resources. They were in resource adoption cycle. We have delayed the adoption due to budgetary concerns. And so they've come back with just some essential items, a couple texts for AP courses where the recommended text for the College Board has changed, an atlas, and I think that's everything. So those materials are all now on the back table for review. The atlas has been there since our last meeting, and we'll bring these back in a month for approval.
Okay, and public review of special education math intervention curriculum.
Thank you, ma'am. Our special education department has recognized the need for a math curriculum for math intervention courses. This is for students who take math outside of the normal math classroom. It's math delivered by a special education teacher. We have a pretty high need for these resources and established curriculum that supports their unique needs. We have 2 series. The series are called VMath and Transmath. Both are from Voyager Sopris Learning. And there is copies on the back table, kits and copies of those materials on the back table. This is a pretty limited resource. It's going to serve a very specific population, I believe grades 7, 8, and 9.
Thank you.
Mrs. Brent?
Yes.
May I give 2 quick information items? The first one is next Tuesday evening, the 20th. I believe that's next Tuesday. Is the Cumberland Perry Area Career and Tech Center Awards Night. That awards night, I don't know. I am planning to attend. I don't know if Mr. Trone, Mr. Cambick, or Mr. Brenton will be able to. I did see your response. But that recognizes, it's essentially the VOTEC graduation, and that is held at CLA, Christian Life Assembly, and look forward to celebrating with those kids and their achievements. The other thing is, since we do not have another public meeting beforehand, I just wanted to put a quick plug in for graduation ceremonies. If you have a graduating senior, a reminder that graduation occurs on Friday, June 6th. The first ceremony beginning at 3 o'clock. And I believe Redland is up first this year. I have been over in that area recently, and I want to put an early reminder out there to folks that Cameron Street, there is a heavy amount of road work going on there. So please pay attention to additional details that are coming out from both of the high schools about the best access points, but please allot time to be there. And the very best way to come in might be to go up this side of the river, go across the bridge, and then make the right-hand turn into Hack. So we're just words of looking ahead. It's hard to believe, but we're just honestly a couple of weeks away from graduation. So exciting day, and we hope to see as many of you there with us as well. Thank you.
Recognition of the public. General items.
We have a number that were submitted electronically, and we have some that are in person. Would you like the electronic ones first?
Electronic first, please.
And there were no that identified as students.
Okay. Thank you.
David Jordan shared concerns about Board Policy 123.2. Matt Riggins expressed support for adopting Board Policy 123.2. Rachel Sarelli shared concerns about Board Policy 123.2. These three items came in last week after the submission deadline for the meeting and were shared with the board after that meeting. The following items came in for tonight's meeting and were shared with the board in advance. Joey Askey advocated for those who identify as LGBTQIA+. Brandy Bandel expressed support for updating board policies 109 and 218 and asked questions about board discipline related to bribery. Chris Caplice expressed support for revisions to Board Policy 109. Jay Hess expressed disappointment with issues surrounding the vote on Board Policy 123.2 and how board members responded to LGBTQ plus issues. Christy Harmon expressed support for revisions to Board Policy 109 and 218, as well as asked for accountability and a board member to step down. Celeste Jack shared support for Board Policy 109 and asked questions about board misconduct. Joanne Olson expressed support for revisions to Board Policy 109 revisions. Mariana Reed expressed support for revisions to Board Policy 109 and 218 and shared concerns about attempted bribery while commending Mr. Britton's integrity.
Public comment provides an opportunity for community members to share their insights and feedback with the board. Each speaker is given 4 minutes to present their remarks, and the board will listen to all comments. Any questions raised will be addressed following adjournment, at which time the superintendent may respond, further research, or provide further research if required. We kindly respect that all attendees demonstrate respect for speakers and refrain from disrupting the proceedings. Comments should be, oh, sorry about that. I thought you were Dr. Argart. Comments should be directed to the board collectively rather than to the individual members, and we ask that speakers avoid addressing other members of the audience directly. At the end of the public comment period, pending any further business, the meeting shall be adjourned. In order to allow members of the board a short amount of time to gather their belongings, we respectfully request those in attendance seeking additional information from anyone here that you remain in the audience until we come from behind our seats. Board members may then approach remaining attendees for further discussion.
And before I bring the blue cards over, Sean Spangler supports the proposed policy amendments. I was too slow in flipping my paper over.
That's okay. Thank you. Julie Estep.
Good evening, everyone. Mrs. Cox, I was at the concert, and so she had part of what I wanted to say. It was, without a doubt, tremendous. And what she didn't mention was the fact that Mr. Hartman, the director that the boys and girls had worked with, was not there. how dare his wife have a baby on that day? So he was very busy. But I think it spoke to his dedication, his preparation, because Mr. Clements and Mr. Sterrett stepped in, did a phenomenal job. And they had, of course, they knew baby was possible. So they had tried to get in there to meet with the boys and girls, which they said that they had. But kudos to what Mr. Hartman has developed, because those boys and girls, they didn't miss a beat. So I think, again, you know how I feel about the music department. In my next life, I'm going to sing and dance and play an instrument. But they did a phenomenal job. And Mr. Sterrett and Mr. Clements, they were equally entertaining, actually, because you had the benefit of listening to the wonderful music and their passion for what they do. So bar none, I agree, whatever they want, give them. I'm also remiss, I was a little tired and it was a marathon last time, but I did want to recognize the staff of the West Shore School District. For over 2 decades, I had the honor of working with some stellar, they were all stellar colleagues. And I now have the distinct privilege of being in most all of our schools, and it's the same everywhere. And so they work and they work and they work to meet the needs of a very diverse student population. And so teacher appreciation was last week, but I was a little tired. So I wanted to mention my colleagues, well, I guess I'm still a colleague, I don't know. But anyway, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sandra Gonzalez? Okay. Jeff Harmon?
Thanks and good evening. My name is Jeff Harmon. A member of this board recently read the name of the plaintiffs of a pending lawsuit during a public board meeting. There's been some speculation concerning behind the motives of this lawsuit. I would like to address that briefly. I sued you because I believe you broke the law, period. This is an ongoing case and I've remained silent in deference to the law. However, at least one member of the majority has been selectively leaking deposition information that places them in a positive light. This has occurred while the district is denying right-to-know requests of the same depositions. Once again, the majority has made poor choices that place taxpayer dollars at risk. The majority needs to learn the difference between being attacked and being held accountable. I plan to do the latter. Prior to this, I have never been party to a lawsuit. I've never been sued. I've spent thousands of dollars and dozens of hours away from my job for depositions. Despite being baselessly attacked by the majority for my actions, spending time away from work and family, I remain more committed than ever to holding this majority accountable for their behavior. I would like to present a brief synopsis of what brought me to this point. I've always voted, and that was the extent of my political activity. This all changed on March 18th of last year. The majority sitting in front of me attempted to hold a secret meeting with the ILC, the legal arm of a hate group, as identified by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Since that time, the majority has made it clear, at least to me, that you do not represent the values and beliefs of my community. I know for a fact they do not listen to their constituents that hold them accountable. Furthermore, it is evident to me that the majority is beholden to several outside interests that are not stakeholders in this institution. The constituents that the board was elected to serve are not only ignored, but often attacked with baseless accusations. One example of this is a post on Facebook attacking a fellow board member. I won't read it. It was vile, disgusting, and way out of line. The majority was made aware of this, and what did they do? Nothing. So much for following their own policy of cyberbullying. So I took action. Here's the response from Facebook. We removed the post you reported. We reviewed the post and found that it goes against our community standards. We let PA Economic Growth PAC know that their post has been removed. Thanks again for letting us know. Reports like this help keep Facebook safe and welcoming for everyone. As for the author of that post, A brief court record check shows that a lien was placed on their house for non-payment of school taxes. Her husband has an arrest record that fills more than a page. These are the people that you hang out with, and you speak of keeping our students safe. I can't ignore a major source of behavior and paradigm of the majority. The federal government is responsible for less than 5% of our budget. So why the outsized voice? We need you to all do your jobs as independent school board directors. That is what you're elected to do, not engage in the latest cultural war targeted minorities. The fact that you've set up your political grandstand on the back of students is both reprehensible and disgusting. I will continue to do what I do, say prayers for my adversaries outside this room, pray for strength to be calm and kind outside this room, because it's my firm belief that the separation of church and state makes me no less of a Christian than others in this room. I will continue to hold you accountable with every means that is legal and ethical. I know that puts me at a disadvantage against you, but my ethics, morals, and my faith require this. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Tara High.
General David John Hurley once said, "The standard you walk past is the standard you accept." Recently, I was very disheartened at the precedent set during a public comment in which a slur was used without repercussion. No warning, nothing. There's a lot to talk about bullying these days, and that is exactly what using a slur is. When we sign up for public comment, we have to accept the guidelines for public participation. And one of those guidelines states that speakers are expected to observe proper decorum. Apparently, that is not specific enough. I believe this board needs to review and update the guideline to specifically address the use of slurs and what actions will be taken if this or any other guideline is not observed. For instance, first occurrence is a warning. Second occurrence, the speaker is removed from the meeting. Any further occurrence, and the speaker is banned from public comment for 1 year. I couldn't help but notice earlier this week I was completing some annual education for the company that I work for, and there are 3 sections, and one dealt with harassment. I was not surprised to see that the course material addressed the use of slurs. It stated that this behavior is never acceptable in the workplace and can contribute to a hostile environment. The same is true of these meetings, and it is painfully obvious both times. As a school board, you need to be upstanders, create a strong culture, and remember, the standard you walk past is the standard you accept.
Heather Keller.
Hello again.
Hi, Heather. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I did have one thing written down, but I need to shift course a little bit because I wrote some notes down and they just didn't make sense to me. But I couldn't let this week go by without expressing my disgust and disappointment that even though I knew that the sex-based distinction in athletics policy was going to pass, I still felt disgust and disappointment that everyone on the board, except for Abby Tierney, voted to pass it. To me, it shows a frustrating lack of support for the LGBTQIA+ community that no one else could put their political feelings or whatever agenda that they have aside and stand up for others. And especially that the fact that they could look at the students that spoke and then comment that nothing in the policy to them was discriminatory, and then vote yes on the policy. To me, that is horrible and inexcusable. And I feel that the district is now less safe and less welcoming for all students and, in fact, the entire community. And I want to finish with a quote from Robert F. Kennedy. "Each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope." I just want to ask that
even though it may not seem like the right thing to do for you personally, that you think about others and how your actions might impact them as you move forward and make decisions. That's what we vote you in for, and that's what I hope that you continue to do as you serve on this board. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Mickle?
Evening. Good evening, members of the board, administration, and community. On Tuesday, May 13th, I joined other parents, educators, and advocates from our district and across the state, including Mr. Cambick, who I literally ran into in the elevator, to discuss the urgent need for fair and adequate funding for our public schools. During the day, I had the chance to sit down with Representatives Anderson and Delosier, who both represent parts of our community. I emphasized a major concern: the way cyber charters are funded, as West Shore continues to send millions of taxpayer dollars to cyber charter schools on a flawed funding formula that has no connection to the actual cost of providing a cyber education. We also discussed Auditor Tim DeFore's recent report, which outlines the waste and misuse of taxpayer dollars under this current system. This report makes it clear: Pennsylvania lawmakers need to act now to correct this inquiry. Without reform, it is a failure of stewardship of taxpayer dollars, and this is a failure where students in public schools are paying the price. This isn't an issue of choice. It's about fairness, accountability, and being responsible with local resources. Our district and districts across Pennsylvania should not be forced to pay a flat rate for services that cost far less when we are managing tight budgets and facing growing needs in our own classrooms. In a previous meeting, Mr. Cambick suggested that the board explore a resolution in support of updating the cyber charting formula. I would urge the board to pursue a resolution to publicly show how critical these adjustments are to adequately meet the needs of our learners. Every dollar we overspend on cyber charters is a dollar we lose for academic programs, teacher support, infrastructure, and learning outcomes here at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments from the board? Okay. There being no further business, I declare this meeting adjourned.
Okay, the meeting has adjourned. I believe some parents will be joining me in just a few minutes. All right. So there were some new changes to public speaking. Even after they adjourn, I guess the superintendent and the school board have a chance to respond if anybody, oops, sorry about that. If anybody wants to respond to them, then they have an opportunity after that, I guess, after the cameras are off, and new policy on you're not supposed to talk to the board members or address them until after they've come out from behind the table at the end of meetings. I guess people are coming up to them and talking to them and delaying them from being able to leave the meeting. So a few new policies for that. Sorry, I'm seeing if I'm getting messages and making sure, seeing if anybody is joining me. So multitasking here at the moment. The new policies. Yeah, I'm not sure about them, and also the way they close out the meeting. If the school board members are going to be able to respond to anybody, then it should probably be on camera, not off camera. So, yeah, that's it. Celeste. They closed out. That was the comments. Sandra wasn't there for her comments. She left a little early. I'm not sure why. I think Mariana was supposed to join me, but I haven't heard from her either. So maybe there's something else going on that I'm not aware of yet or privy to, as I've been seeing to the meeting. I do want to say that hermaphrodite is not a slur. It is, in fact, in the dictionary. It is, in fact, a medical term, and it is defined as the following: an organism having sex organs or other sexual characteristics that are not clearly male or female, either abnormally or, in the case of some organisms, as the natural condition. So it's a term. It's an actual term. Okay, it's not a slur. It's not a racial slur or anything. And yes, he was gabbled, Brandy. When that happened, he was gabbled. They wanted him. Apparently, this lady who spoke at the end of this meeting wanted him to be removed and maybe penalized from coming back or something, is what she was saying. So I think that's ridiculous, because hermaphrodite is not a slur anyway. It's an actual term. It's a medical term. So if you don't like it, that's your problem. But it's a real word, and that's just the way it is. So they had some policies come up that they'll vote on next month. That they put out into the sunlight. I will also take a look at those so that I can comment on the next meeting. But unless someone else is planning on jumping in here, then there's not really much else. It was just a pretty standard meeting. I wasn't able to hear at the very beginning. I was adjusting my volume, so I didn't see who actually wasn't there, who was there remotely. There was 8 people there, and there was 1 not there. I didn't get to see or hear who it was that wasn't there. So I'm not sure, but it was 8 of them there, and there was 1 not there. And I'm not sure who wasn't there. If anybody's watching, if anybody knows who wasn't there, who was there remotely, please leave a comment, because I was adjusting my volume and I didn't hear who was there remotely. Yeah, of course, none of them had anything to say about Trone. Oh, Guy Swipe wasn't there. I was going to say Trone was in the room, I'm pretty sure. Guy Swipe wasn't there. Oh, Heidi was remote. Oh, no, they said they had, I thought they said, Brandy, I thought they said they had 8 there. So I thought there was 8 of them there, and then 1 person was remote. They said 8 there, or 8 people present. Oh, maybe they said 8 people present and 1 person remote. Yeah, okay, maybe that's what it was. So 1 person was missing and 1 person was remote. My apologies on that. So Heidi was remote. Geist White was out. Trone was in attendance. Not that he said much or did much of anything. So, and then all the votes tonight were roll call votes. And none of them looked like they were, they looked like all, stuff that they were, except for maybe the science stuff. I'm not sure about that. I didn't get a chance to review the materials myself or anything. Sandra voiced concern for that potentially. So, yeah, Heidi was remote. Yeah, I didn't really hear her, although, it's really hard to get involved remotely. I can only imagine how hard that is to try and talk through the phone and communicate through the phone. We didn't hear much from Kelly. She was remote last week. Only a little bit. So I'm getting messages coming in, but they are not. I don't know. I guess Mariana is not planning on joining me. So thank you, Christy and Brandy, and anybody else who is tuned in, Celeste as well, and anybody else who's tuned in. Thanks for hitting that react button. Please share it out. So we can keep reaching more people. And I'm going to, if maybe we might come back on and do something else, another coverage or another small little segment later, once I find out exactly what's going on, as my voice messages are blowing up and I find out what happened. Because Mariana was supposed to come on and I don't know where she is. Sandra left early, so I don't know what's exactly is happening right now in the world. So I think I'm going to close this episode out so that I can find out exactly what's happening. And of course, stay tuned to our pages. We do most of our stuff from the Facebook page. YouTube and Rumble is also where you can find all of our video content. Please go subscribe to that and check out our storefront, bonfire.com/store/the Boiling Point podcast, and pick up some apparel. You can always find it on our social media as well. So thank you for tuning in, and we will continue our coverage as always. Like I said, we may be back in a little bit once I find out exactly what is happening in the world. Sorry about that. I just clicked the wrong button. Lots of things happening, and I need to get off this, and we're going to close this out. So thanks for tuning in. If there's any more updates, stay tuned to the social media pages. Marcus Frederiksen is going to play us out. Check him out, reverbnation.com/Marcus Frederiksen. I'm your host, JD. That's the end.